You got any questions?
Yeah, I did have
Okay,
one.
go ahead.
How did being in college absolutely shape you to the person you are today?
Honestly, I would just say having a strong mentality because in college it'll make or break you. When you're a freshman coming in, those first 2 weeks of workouts they're crazy. Like they just trying to break you mentally. But if you can get through that, you can get through the season. You're gonna have ups and downs because it's different between high school and college. Like physically, the game is faster, the coaching, the systems and stuff like that to play. So really just staying down mentally, just locking in and not getting discouraged because it's a long season in college, but if you can get through your freshman year, then you're good.
Well, that's a good question because I think that, it kind of segues into something. I know we were talking about real quick about the high schools and moving on, moving, definitely moving to different, a different scenario if they, need to, if that's the case may be, but in a different scene. It's just like I said, for that expectation of having that, there. How being the fact that, like you said, you had some other, future, things that you might want to do as far as with that baseball and stuff like that. Can you do both? As far as not in the future, but I'm talking about now, like as far as like in high school. Shouldn't they? I mean, what's your take?
Honestly, I think kids should definitely not put all they shouldn't put all their eggs in one basket. They should be able to tap into other sports because you can learn different things from different sports, because it's like if you play soccer, you learn how to footwork and balance and stuff like that. Football, you're in the weight room all year, you learn how to get hit and different things with contact. And baseball, you got hand-eye coordination, so you can just learn everything from different sports. So I would just encourage players, just to not just focus on one sport, just try it. And if you don't like it, then you don't have to play it, but just try it.
Okay, and that's where I'm going to go to our next segment. What are college coaches really looking for? Tell me that when it comes to basketball. But I think we segregated a little bit on it. I've heard it before. They were looking into some other sports that they did as well. Sure, they were actually liking the fact that they were playing other sports.
So it's even some colleges now, like if they're recruiting you for basketball and you play football, they might come to see how you act or how you play in football and stuff like that. And so they just look at everything. But honestly, college coaches, they look at your academics, and then how much of a good student are you. You got the grades, you got the test scores and stuff like that. Then they look at your attitude, your character, your body language. How are you a good teammate? Do you defend? Are you selfish or are you unselfish? Just like that. Do you work hard? So they just look at everything. So I just wouldn't say they just hone down on one thing. You just have to be, just locked in on everything.
As far as blue chips, tell me how soon, like how early would you work with, a youth? And then tell me a little bit about steering them in that.
So we have athletes, that we mentor from freshman, sophomore, junior, and senior. Nowadays these colleges, they start recruiting or they monitor you in 7th, 8th grade, but they can't talk to you. So 9th grade, I would say 9th, 10th grade is really whenever they start, tapping in, showing interest and stuff like that, sending you letters, following you on Twitter, come and watch you play in AAU live period and stuff like that. So I would just say freshman and sophomore is probably the earliest they really start honing down on the athletes and stuff like that.
Okay, so that's good. So tell me a little bit about the service when they come, advising both the parent and child, right?
Absolutely. So we mentor them. We just give them all the knowledge. What colleges look for. On the court and off the court. Making sure their academics is taken care of. Making sure that the right events. With the right programs. So they can get seen and exposure and different things of that nature. Reaching out to college coaches for them, evaluating their film, thinking, just kind of placing them where they should be able to play at.
So tell me a little bit about when you say reaching out to college coaches, because is there there's some rules with that, right?
No, for sure. There's definitely certain rules. There's different periods throughout the year where colleges, they can't come and talk to you, or they can't talk to you, or they can't come and watch you and stuff like that. But right now, where we're in the summer, they're in the live period, so they're coming to watch like high school team shootouts, high school practices, AAU, things of that nature and stuff like that. So the summer is really where you can get recruited and stuff like that and get the confidence going into your high school season.
So, but can blue chips though? Well, I'm not.
No, for
able.
sure.
As her parent
Mhm.
during the season, I might not be able to.
So we can talk to the college coaches for you. You know, we can kind of ask them what they want or what they're looking for and stuff like that. So we can help we can help place the players to the coaches, and then we can help the coaches with the players and stuff like that in that nature. So we can talk to college coaches all year round. 'Cause
Okay.
we're not athletes.
So
We're not
that's
athletes.
that's
We're
the
not
key,
athletes, for
right?
sure.
That's the key to having
sure.
that service, right? As far as and it matters, right?
Mhm. Yeah, for sure.
Tell me a little bit about the social media as well. Like, do you all help with that? Like,
No,
cause these
absolutely.
hype videos that I hear,
Absolutely,
talking about.
absolutely. So our social platform, we get over like 500,000 views each month. You know, through Twitter, you know, through Instagram, through Facebook. So that's really how much of our power comes from. So like we have an athlete, we post them on our Twitter. You know, his highlights or his film or his stats. He might get 5 to 10 college followers just off of that. You know, because we have a long list of following the college coaches on our platform. So that's what I'm just saying. Like Blue Chip, we really focus on just getting these athletes to the next level and giving them the exposure and the spotlight they deserve.
Real quick question: what separates good players from recruitable players?
If you're willing to work hard and your attitude, you know. So that's just the main thing. That's the main thing. Your attitude and do work hard.
Right, and I think a lot of you're hearing some of this too. Tell me how you feel about listening to some of the things he's saying.
You gotta I'm just listening, but I feel like becoming like a college, like me going into college now. I feel the work hard. You gotta work hard. You gotta want it because you're like at a job. It's not just you're not just going in to play around. I feel like getting exposure and going to college to the next level. You gotta want it. That's what I'm getting out of this.
Yeah, and I
You
think
gotta want it. You gotta work. It can't get handed to you. You gotta
right.
work towards what you want.
Real quick, what should the parents be doing? And I mean, if you say, if they they placing, getting the service or whatever, then what should they be doing on the back end of that?
So honestly, I would just say to parents, I would encourage them just uplift your kids, just speak life into them, just be there for them. You can be hard on them, but also give them some good stuff that they're doing. So I would just say that, just putting them in the right places, taking them to camps, college camps, elite camps, just putting them in the right places for them to be seen and stuff like that, and really just support them, I would just say really just support them and speak life into them, because that's what a lot of younger athletes need nowadays. It's just someone, that just believe in them.
Right. Real quick. So Blue Chips Global, right? The crowd, the opportunities we talked about that they create. I get that. So tell me a little bit about this interstate team shootout. Tell me a little bit about it.
Okay, yeah. So the Interstate Shootout is a high school shootout. We got a few teams.
When is it?
It's June 13th in
Okay.
Morgantown, West Virginia, at Milan Park. We got we got 12 college coaches coming, to come evaluate and recruit. So that's good for the kids. We got a few sports and media outlets coming to cover, interview, do highlights and stuff like that for the kids. So we got teams from like all over West Virginia. We got a few teams from Ohio, a few teams from Pennsylvania. So it's really just a great event for the kids to just get seen, and get the spotlight and the recognition they deserve.
Right. So